Okay, it was supposed to be raining today. It is actually cloudy and it's pretty windy actually. I'm hoping there won't be too much wind sound stuff on the mic today. I've often heard some people say it's actually good to try to get like I guess footage and stuff after it rains because everything will look different. You'll have maybe more mist and all that, like even up in the mountains. Again, it hasn't actually rained here in a while. Thank you guys for all your supportive comments yesterday too for the video. It actually makes me happy knowing that people can actually see, I guess, the emotion and the passion behind it. I mean, in many ways, I hope it does like open up some people's minds too about using it for photography reasons and stuff like that. I mean, you guys remember last time I missed out on that other opportunity to educate the public just because I couldn't find a female drone flyer. So hopefully this will be good as well. In regards to how to help, I assume right now it's out of my hands because I don't really know like what, for example, people like the judges are looking for. Because again, even I was a little confused. Like, are you just looking for like landscape shots or are you looking for storytelling? So yeah, that I don't know. I just know there's supposed to be like some kind of user vote categories where I guess whoever has the most votes or something like that like wins as well. It's a separate category. I think you need like a DJI account for that. So I know like for me anyways, when I was trying to register for that SkyPixel, so I actually had kind of a difficult time. It's not as intuitive, but I noticed like the DJI account login works. So I guess that's how you would vote if you wanted to like help out in that way. It kind of makes me think too because with videos like this or even like a contest, I think it's all about perspective and it's probably like very subjective. Because like the comment here saying you'll be amazed if I don't win. I mean, it depends on the perspective you're looking at. I mean, if you're looking at purely from a technical point of view, like a lot of you said you love like the beaver shot, like I love it like personally too. Like it was so random and it's something to capture. I mean, you could see it like from, if you're someone that sees animals, you would say like, how did you get that shot? Like if I brought a drone there, that thing would have ran away just like that. Whereas someone else would look at it and he could literally just say like, what's this? Look at that overexposed snow, for example. Like, what is this? You call this like quality? Like, you never know. Like, that's actually true. Like, you just don't know what people are looking for the most part. Like, with seeing like emotion and passion, for example, some people could see what I did as wow. Like, I can really like kind of feel what you're trying to portray. Whereas another person could say like, ew, puke, gross. You just never know. Although I was confused with the wild beaver comment. Wasn't that a wild beaver technically? I mean, I still remember. I don't remember the exact vlog number, but the way I actually found those beavers was I was actually going to test the track me or the follow me mode for the Mavic one day, but that was like a change of plans. There was a beaver there because there was a lady staring at it. She's like, look at that. And so I thought I'd bring it up there so that we could both like get the perspective of the beaver. I'm pretty sure it noticed that the Mavic was there too. It just didn't care. Because I kind of mentioned before, I think like for myself, for most animals around here, they're too used to seeing people, so it doesn't bother them as much. And just from my own personal experience, it's when you go too fast or too sudden that it startles like the animals. They're like, hey, what's going on? But if you actually just sit there, do it really steadily, then generally I find they don't care. That's why too I'm usually excited to try to learn about different cultures, see like how the places are in other people's areas. Because yeah, maybe I see a beaver here, maybe someone else, I don't know. Like I don't think we have that many like what? Elephants and stuff like that around here, right? So we need to kind of see that in other people's areas as well. I thought today I'd try to catch up on some of the stuff that I wanted to talk about yesterday, but I couldn't really do it at the time. And I know some of you guys have sent me like, you know, even further emails saying like the time's running out in terms of people, I guess, putting their opinions in about the drone laws in Canada. So you guys even sent me things like emails and stuff like that you sent to members of parliament, I guess, giving you instructions on how to do it. It still makes me wonder if there's a better collective way of putting the voice out there, like in a bigger way, like formally anyways. There's actually one interesting piece of news that stuck out in my mind. It wasn't related to drones, but I remember before, like the other day, I was talking about what the heck is a stakeholder, and one of you mentioned, for example, as just, you know, bureaucracy and stuff like that. Even though there's more recreational drone flyers, the people that have the money and all that to dictate stuff. So this piece of news actually fascinated me. It was something about in Toronto. I guess there was a city park or something like that where it's kind of dangerous, I guess, to walk down this hill, and people wanted a stair to actually walk down safer. But the city proposed that it could cost about, I guess, $65,000 or more to build it. And apparently a guy just went in and built it for $550 and people were using it. But now it's a controversy. Like the city's saying, nope, it's unsafe. We're going to have to tear it down. But I think the point of it was the guy could do it for that cheap, like a retired mechanic or something like that. So like, why does that need to be like $65,000? Now maybe someone who builds stuff like that for a living would know better. But to me, that's kind of funny. Like in terms of talk of bureaucracy, it makes me wonder if that's how like the things like the drone laws and stuff are. It's so overcomplicated. Like I don't think it needs to be. It seems like it's more about like money. Like in this case, like I think I would agree like with most people in here that share this article's opinion. I don't think it costs $65,000, even if it's about safety and stuff like that. Anybody want to try animal whispering, all that? So with that in mind, bringing it back to like what is a stakeholder, like obviously like for me, I'm a recreational flyer, so that's where most of my opinion comes from. I mean, it's kind of interesting like to kind of hear like, well, what do commercial people feel about it? And some of you actually wrote comments where you guys say you're commercial actually UAV pilots or drone flyers, and it's kind of a completely different perspective between the two commercial people, which I thought was kind of interesting. Because for the first one is, you might remember like the other time we were talking how the proposed law bans things like doing acrobatic moves, and the fact that you need like an SFOC license, which in my opinion is ridiculous. I mean, if they're in a safe environment, then they should be able to do it like regardless, like a little flip or whatever with a tiny drone. Like, why shouldn't they be able to do that? So one person here, you said here, in regards to formation flying, you are required to have a SFOC because to fly true formations is very hard. You can follow another UAV at say 30 feet, but that is not true formation flying. Formation flying is flying close to like 5 to 10 feet from each other. My initial feeling to that, and I would ask, is to what lens or perspective are you basing that on? Because I would imagine you're only basing that on things like maybe the only type of drones that you know, for example, like things of a certain size. Like, I'm just exaggerating, but maybe you're talking about like 2 Inspires type of drones doing that professionally, which, yeah, I can see, like if you're doing it in a professional setting, but you have to keep in mind these laws are affecting everybody, even the people that fly it for fun. I mean, as an exaggeration, if someone like wants to fly a 250 gram drone in an open field, they want to try to do like stunts to film like that, like say 10 to 15 away in a formation flying, why can't they? Or as another example would be, let's pretend 2 people are flying 250 gram drones, open field, and they program the drone to fly it like in a certain direction. For example, one drone says, I want you to fly it in a straight line, like whatever, I'm making it up, 5 meters in the air, go straight. And then another guy's friend programs it, I want you to fly like the same straight line, but you're gonna be a little higher, and it's all automated, it's going back and forth, and they just wanna film it. Why should that be illegal? Technically that would be illegal, like according to this. Like, to me personally, I don't think it's very thought out if people say, for example, yeah, like get a license and stuff, because you have to think of the big picture. I mean, just like with driving a car, like unless I'm wrong, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, but everyone agrees like in regular traffic, tailgating is like bad, correct? Is there actually a specific law for tailgating specifically? I don't think there is. There's a specific, general law saying like if you're driving in general, I mean, you should have general safety, common sense that you're not like endangering people in a stupid way, kind of like driving close. But they don't just ban tailgating in general because it has to come down to the circumstance. Who knows, maybe there's some kind of device where another car is actually that close but is pushing the other car because it ran out of gas. Like, I don't know, I'm making it up. But with the laws, like the way it's written, it would make that illegal. If you just plain out say, like for example, tailgating is illegal. And in my opinion, that's kind of like how the drones are. Like with that ridiculous law, in my opinion, not proposed one. I mean, I said it once and I'll say it again. It should come down to intent and common sense. You don't need something really specific like that where it affects everyone that does it like in a safe, legitimate way. You then mentioned saying, as for doing flips and stuff, you must be in an area suitable to do such maneuvers. A little common sense goes a long way here. Okay, that's kind of confusing to me because that's kind of my point. If you're in a safe area, common sense, you should be able to do it, but based on these regulations, no, that's not acceptable. It's illegal. You can be fined just for doing like an acrobatic move in a safe field. I think that's the point. And if your point is, well, yeah, of course they're not going to enforce that. I mean, common sense, like, I don't think so. Even based on like what I've seen like in other places and all that, a lot of people, they interpret the law by the book. They'll just say, that's what's written there, too bad. And in my opinion, if it's going to be like that, I mean, it shouldn't even be written there, period. It should be something more common sense. You also say here, you are a certified UAV pilot, and you see that I'm trying to stay within the law, which is cool, but please be careful on how I present these rules. People need to be educated, but with good info. Okay, I challenge you, like, what's wrong with the info I'm telling? It's all what's written there, correct? I mean, you feel free to debunk the points that I put out. I mean, show me the facts. Like, what am I misrepresenting anyways? That's what's written. I mean, it's no difference from when I criticize things like that ridiculous stay away from animals thing, which they actually took out right now, but it's the same thing. That's what's written there. I mean, that's how it's being presented. That's how the media portrays it, like in general. So again, feel free to show me the facts on what's wrong with what I'm presenting there. I actually thought this quote was actually really interesting because it kind of brings up my point before, saying like I don't think like a person with an SFOC, a piece of paper, necessarily means they're safer than like, you know, a person like myself. And you say here, as a commercial UAV pilot, I believe in going above and beyond expectations, so there's no question as to intent. In fact, I spent lots of money to make sure I am doing it right. I mean, to me, like there, for example, you spent a lot of money to make sure you're doing things right. Do you not think I did as well? I mean, when I buy my Mavic Pro, it was an investment. Do you think I'm going to be stupid, for example, like just in general, to fly like a, you know, $1,400 drone or whatever, crash into people like, okay, well, whatever. No, I did my research. I tried to learn it. I try to practice every day. I mean, it's the same thing. What's the difference? Just because you have a piece of paper, for example, it doesn't mean you're safer. I mean, I could argue for how I use it. I could have spent way more time than you have, like in terms of practicing to fly the drone in a safe way. I mean, I fly it in fields like this to go on my hiking trips. Like that would be a complete difference from someone trying to fly like smack dab right in the middle of the city near an airplane like that. Like I would say, like you better be prepared in every way. If you're trying to fly near an airplane, get permission and all that. But for something like here, it's completely different. It makes me wonder in many ways, like with these SFOCs and stuff. Is it really about skill and safety, or is it just more because, well, that's the way you did it, so I should too? Like to me, that's not right, because in my opinion, that SFOC doesn't make sense in many ways in general. Especially again, if you're telling me a recreational drone flyer flying somewhere like here, to do like an aerial move or to fly that close with another like model aircraft or whatever, needs an SFOC for that? Come on, give me a break. That's completely nuts in my opinion. And just for clarification, I'm not trying to like specifically like aim this at you or anything like that. You're just the only commercial pilot so far that's voiced his opinion that way, and I think it's, you know, I think it's important to bring that up. But generally speaking, yeah, like if the only reason is people want people like me to get stuff like that because that's what you went through, to me it doesn't make sense. I mean, it should be here like to try to make the laws sensible for everybody. I mean, the way they did it before just doesn't make sense. It feels like to me anyways, it's meant more for like huge aircrafts, like flying like next to each other in a traditional way, not with like say toy drones, if that's what you want to call it, in an everyday situation. So there was actually another comment from another commercial UAV pilot, which is kind of interesting because again, it's kind of a different perspective. You actually say here, as a commercial UAV pilot as well as a recreational one, I am blown away on how much the commercial industry gets away with by just having an SFOC. The permissions given on an SFOC allows me to fly over any public area, buildings, people, animals, etc. And all he needs to do is ask for permission to fly over the area needed and to follow a flight path with Nav Canada. I mean, that's kind of interesting in many ways. Like, I can't really verify because I'm not a commercial pilot, so I'm not really sure of the whole process, but that is kind of interesting. I mean, if it is about safety, all you need to do is send it in and they'll say like, okay, here you go, and then they can do anything. Like, to me, that's not really thorough in terms of determining if this guy is like adequate to fly that way. Then you go on to say the UAV units that you have used the exact same safety precautions as the Phantom and Mavics, like videos with the sensors, low battery warnings and all that, and you find there is no difference when flying commercial UAVs to recreational ones. You said, in my mind, I feel us recreational pilots are being scrutinized for something that hasn't even happened yet. In the end, if you are commercial or recreational, you should be liable for your actions just like everyone else. I mean, overall, that's my personal sentiment about all this. I mean, it should come down to common sense. Because even like you say with the equipment you fly, a lot of commercial people, they actually use things like, I don't know, like the Phantoms or the Mavics. It's the exact same thing. So why can't you just say, fly it safely? You do something wrong, you pay the consequences. Like overall, just like anything else in life. Of course, in terms of the real details, that's up for like people like the commercial pilots to kind of debate over that. Like, because I can't really speak in terms of the entire process, how thorough they are in evaluating people, like on how they fly. I just know as a recreational drone flyer that those rules, they make absolutely no sense, because if you just want to do it because of a few bad cherry-picked bad apples, I mean, you should do that across the board for any type of transportation, whether it be a car or whatever. But that's not the case, so I don't see why we can't have the common sense like that with the drones as well. I mean, it's kind of like this, like one of the emails you guys sent me here. You talked about like training and license and stuff. Like you said, but let's look at it in reality in life. The only difference is that if you're an idiot before your training, now you're an idiot with a license. I mean, that's true in many ways. For me personally, I mean, I feel there needs to be like education, like it has to be better, like knowledge and information out there for new flyers. Like I agree with that personally. because like even I've seen before like people who bought like a Mavic Pro for free, they don't even do it anything in terms of research. They buy it, they even bring it out like in field, they start flying. I'm like, what? You didn't do anything in terms of like trying to like set it up or reading the manuals? Like, no. So like to me, like that obviously shows like more education is needed. But even for me as a flyer when I first started, that Transport Canada site completely sucked in terms of trying to educate people on how to fly a drone. I had to rely on things like YouTube videos and stuff like that. So in my opinion, that shows that the government's lacking in that way. They're trying to promote safe flyers and all that. In my opinion, that's the real way to get like flyers like more safe, not like ridiculous over-the-top laws that stop people like me, for example, from educating people as well. Holy cow, it's really windy. I guess I will try to fly the drone, but I guess it's to be another like test to see how stable it is with all this wind. What do you guys think about that? That's actually the first time I've seen like here anyways with two commercial pilots having a completely different perspective on the issue, like for and against in terms of the regulations, like banning like aerial moves and all that. And thanks for voicing your opinions too, like those commercial people, because like I would imagine anyways, most commercial people are afraid of putting their voice out, otherwise they'll probably be blacklisted in the industry or something like that. So yeah, thank you for putting out your thoughts too. But it makes me think again, like if someone just wants to take photography or whatever, like with the in the air, there's stuff for that, like the drones for example, versus if you want to fly something for fun to do stunts, there's something for that. I mean, everyone has something different. And again, in my opinion, the laws have to make sense for everybody, not just specific niche types of people. This means more common sense in my opinion. It's kind of simple if you think about it. Anyways, see you guys later.